Hello and welcome to my Matchbox Superkings collection, and this time I'm featuring the infamous K15 Londoner bus in all its glory. What you're looking at is the first issue. This was in 1972. Got the dubious pleasure of having opening doors. Whoops-a-daisy, that's done well. And we get a bell. Mine doesn't ring that well, but it is there. And as we can see, it is definitely there. This didn't run for very long in this specification. And probably the amount of defective bells would probably be one of the reasons why. But there we can see the bell enclosure. The box in all its glory with some beautiful artwork. Mine's got a little bit of wear and tear on it, but it would sit like that. It's good it's done that because, and it shows it's new, it sits on there and the wheels just prong on there. And that was that. We got more, and we got a lot more. Lesney knew the value of this particular casting, and we got a few more. But this was Lesney's response to Dinky Toys that brought us their version of a Routemaster bus, and also at the time Dinky Toys had the Leyland Atlantean. And there you are, there's the yellow pages. And what did Corgi give us? In competition, Corgi gave us various versions of the Routemaster. Any other sort of offer from Corgi didn't really come until after Dinky's demise. But these are the sort of things that doesn't really want to stand on that, does it? I don't know why. We'll hold it. This is a souvenir from a very, very famous store called Harrods, and this does away, as we will see, without the bell. So the bell has been removed, and this is the box. So nothing much underneath, but that's the Harrods version. Then we have a look at this version, K15. Now, it carried on with the door. And we have the earlier version with the door. But, as you will see, we lose the bell. So, this version has an area where the bell, oops-a-daisy, that's great, isn't it? It has an area where the bell would have been, but unfortunately cost cutting led to the bell being removed. So this would have been, I'll show you its box in a minute. So we'll put in there. So you would have had this type of box for, nothing wants to stand on there anymore, does it? Except I haven't done anything to it. So you'd have had this type of box. They're proudly proclaiming, you might see the original price that I paid for this, which was about £2.50, and they're detailing the features that it has, and it still sits on that type of fixing. So we get Silver Jubilee version of MB17, which was the Londoner, in the miniatures, and we also get it in Superkings. So the Superkings is based on the Daimler DMS produced for London. Not the most popular bus, and it didn't do well for London as they couldn't get on with it. Many other operators had them, but this was the version that Matchbox chose to go with. And a little look underneath, not much underneath. They also done this. Now this is slightly different in the fact that you'll see that this is done more as a gift. It's actually on a black plinth, so when you get it out it's on a black plinth. It's the same casting, but we are actually Heritage Gifts by Lesney. The Matchbox name is still there, but it is much more of a tourist souvenir and not so much as a toy, but we still get the toy features listed underneath. So Lesney was still about for a second royal event, and this one being the royal wedding in 1981 of Charles and Diana. So they got their commemorative version, and we still have a opening door, and as you can see, a nice souvenir of the time did Lesney make. So we'll go and maybe place it so you can read it. The casting went through a number of changes, and we go through to this. So not only do we lose the bell, but by about 1985 we lose the opening feature as well. So K15 just becomes very much a solid bus. As you can see, no opening features at all. Underneath we're still pretty much the same. I have done something to this bus, I must admit, and in the sort of 1970s and 80s you wouldn't have had much in the way of scale model buses, so the only way you could interpret more realism was to put your transfers on yourself. So I put water slide transfers onto this one and added the 103 and the adder at the back and the registration plate, but it does actually make it look a little bit more sort of realistic. It's something I'd done years ago, and I only done it to this one, so we'll compare a more standard version, but they do look good. It is a good interpretation of the Daimler DMS. It is very good. So we'll just run through some of the later versions which came out. So we have the Milky Bar, a Nestle Milky Bar. We get the panel on the top, but as you can see there's nothing that says anything happens, because nothing does happen. We get it stating that we have a detailed interior and suspension. It does, but not much else, unfortunately. But it remained a popular model. This one is still manufactured in the UK, so still manufactured in England, and it carried on into a full red version. It had many changes. This one's the petticoat lane, but as we can see, this is a slightly later one because it has that with a CE mark on it. It's how I bought it. It would have been produced way before that came in. So another standard version, as I say, was the London Wide, and just to prove, it comes in the same box. This version did get the promotional treatment, so we have a nice blue one for Alton Towers, which is a huge big theme park in Staffordshire in the UK, and it says on there the fantasy of Disneyland, so they must have had approval for that. But again, you'll see it's a bog standard bus. You'll notice the issue with the opening features gets removed, because quite simply it doesn't have them, and hopefully that's got that. So another promotional version is for the Telegraph and Argos. Ooh, that's better. I would guess that's in Bradford, because I think it's got Bradford written on it, number 24. But it's just the bog standard bus. We lose everything on the back of it because they've realised by now that no point advertising features that the bus hasn't got. Another promotional model is the McLean's toothpaste. I should angle it really. Colours are very similar to the previous one. Again, in a late style box, and again plain on the back. We get another promotional in the slightly earlier box. This is, as it says, Parish Church 750th anniversary. So only been there a few years. And because it's in the slightly earlier box with the panel, that's just a label put on there, and also that legal lettering. And the final one is if you ate butter-kissed butter toffee popcorn. Again, I think this was a promotional put out, and you possibly could either purchase this, but again it's in just the standard box. There is a rather special version almost to end with, and it's this one. It's actually a reverse casting of this, and what they've done, it's done to replicate the colours and the feel of the Berlin buses, but on a London DMS or on a Daimler DMS, but it is left-hand drive as opposed to right-hand drive. We have German lettering there. There's a picture of what the real bus would have been. It would have certainly have been some tooling challenges, and this is quite a historic piece, as it quite clearly says it's printed in West Berlin. So under the guise of West Germany as opposed to the unified Germany that we've got. And there we have it. This is still based on an English casting as well. So these would have been produced and then shipped over to Berlin and then probably finished off over there. But it's certainly a very impressive model. We'll move these out of the way so we can get a nice glimpse of the Berlin one. Production carried on. We got more of the same coming from China and from Macau, but the only other version that I have is this one, and I'll pick the camera up for you. So this is for my first Matchbox. This was an initiative that Matchbox had for a number of years. Mine is inscripted with Save the Children, as it was a charity promotion for, which Matchbox did. Probably one of the last things Matchbox Universal did. But there's a look at the front. So we don't get the My First Matchbox logo. We get an older interpretation of the logo, and we'll see underneath. Let's get it in the light. We'll get that in the light so you can hopefully see it. Pop that in the other hand, and then I'll be able to put that, making a hash of it. But that's that version. So that's all my K15s. I hope you enjoyed the look. This is probably one of the most cost-effective ways of collecting Super King, because there are so many of them and so many different variations of them. It's quite easy to collect. The hardest one is going to be the one with the bell. That's probably the hardest version to get hold of, and my first Matchbox thing seemed to have very much have disappeared. These blister models went to the kiddies. The early years. One thing I didn't show you was the back of it, did I? No, I did not, but I have now, so hopefully you can freeze or read the information on the back. Hope you enjoyed that, my little look at K15, and if you have any comments, just let me know. Am I doing things right? Am I doing things wrong? Am I just barking up the wrong tree, which is an easy thing for me to do. Thank you very much. Goodbye.